Human Rights by Alexis Martin. How are human rights connected to art? Anytime there is a major movement, there will be art, and movements don't get much bigger than the one for human rights. Artists look at this as a way to document their ideas in regards to human rights. This can take on all forms, from a photographer documenting events in real time, an author expressing their emotions about events through text, or a musician singing about the sorrows of injustice caused by an event. Literature. Writing has been one of the greatest tools used in the fight for human rights from when human rights first appeared to now, when people use their writing to bring awareness to human rights issues across the world. Ariel Dorfman is a human rights activist and currently a professor at Duke University. Dorfman's family left Argentina in 1954 to flee from the oppressive government. Dorfman has multitudes of works from plays and musicals to novels and poetry. A lot of his work has the recurring theme of political oppression. Hope by Ariel Dorfman is the poem I chose to show how he represents human rights through his work. In this poem, Dorfman touches on a couple topics that are important to acknowledge. First would be the fact that the family is being torn apart by the government, violating Article 3 of the UDHR. The second thing is the longevity of the torture and how the family's only hope that their son is still alive is based on the fact that he has been tortured for so long. Article 5. Ray Bradbury is an American author known for his life-altering work. Fahrenheit 451 is one of Bradbury's many works that covers the issue of human rights. In the book Fahrenheit 451, Bradbury writes about a futuristic American city where people do not think for themselves and books are banned. In this society, people are obsessed with moving fast, watching TV, and listening to the government, until a small group of rebels decides to turn on the government and begin to see the power of knowledge. Throughout the beginning of the book, there are a number of human rights violations. It starts with the tainting of individuality, goes on to disassemble culture, and attempts to prevent the spread of education. This book is an excellent way to showcase that people can get so caught up in unnecessary things and miss out on the things they allow to be taken away from them. By taking away their right to education and individuality, the government basically secured the right to control the people as they see fit. Artwork. Works of art like pictures and paintings are a great way to get the idea of human rights around to people without having to say or read anything. A lot of times, artwork can be more powerful than any other form of art because it allows people the opportunity to go through their own thought process and feel things that only they can feel when looking at it. Also, it is a great medium to connect to people of all backgrounds. You don't have to be educated to understand a picture. Keith Haring was an American artist and social activist. His work helped mold the New York street culture of the 1980s through expressing concepts of birth, death, sexuality, and war. Haring was diagnosed with AIDS in 1988 and died 2 years later. His art depicts who he truly was and what was important to him. During his brief career, Haring's art was featured in over 100 solo and group exhibitions. Haring was able to challenge the norm in many ways and made a living doing so. Haring devoted a large amount of time to public works that often carried social messages, which would inspire change. Haring also held drawing workshops for children in schools and museums around the world, and produced imagery for many literacy programs and other public service campaigns. The right to education was important to Haring, and he used his abilities to educate others. In a lot of Haring's art, you can see religious symbols, but also social situations that may go against what that religion is about. He used his art to show people being free to love who they love and basically living life how they see fit. Haring probably has at least one picture for every article in the UDHR, but Articles 16, 18, and 19 are very prominent in most of his works. After being diagnosed with AIDS in 1988, Herring started a foundation that continues to promote his legacy and also provides grants to children in need as well as those affected by HIV and AIDS. This ties into Article 25, which discusses that everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and his family. Lisa Christine is a humanitarian photographer. She has been exploring the globe for over 25 years and documenting her findings through the lens of her camera. Christine recently did an exhibit entitled Enslaved. She went around the globe photographing modern slavery. The following photos are from this exhibit. Pop culture. A lot of people forget the impact that pop culture has on the way we view things in the present. Sometimes, pop culture can be used to bring about needed change in the world. Many artists have found that by utilizing pop culture, they have been able to bring their message to broader audiences. Get Up, Stand Up is a popular song by Bob Marley that talks about how oppressed people should not give up fighting for their basic human rights. It was written while Marley was touring Haiti because he was moved by the poverty and everyday lives of the Haitians. The Simpsons is an animated show that has a huge pop cultural influence. If you've never seen it, you have at least heard about it. The producers paired up with well-known human rights artist Banksy and did an extended version of the original open credit for the show, also known as the couch gag. During the intro, many different forms of human and animal rights violations are showcased for the world to take notice of. The first thing that is showcased are the inhumane conditions of sweatshop workers, many of them with bandages around their arms and hands. Then it goes on to show child labor in toxic environments. Lastly, it focuses on the inhumane treatment of animals. In conclusion, art is just another way for people to get their ideas about human rights out there, and by doing so, they are able to bring awareness to the ongoing fight for equality. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed.